Action!
It's one of the most beloved movies in film history.
Great Scott!
A story about time travel.
It's gotta be a dream.
Family.
My
name is Lorraine.
And destiny.
What? You're George McFly. Yeah, who are you?
A film that redefined the summer blockbuster and launched an unlikely teenager named Marty McFly into pop culture immortality.
I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
But what if I told you that Marty McFly was never supposed to look like this?
Whoa, this is heavy.
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
What?
That for 6 full weeks of filming, a different actor starred in Back to the Future.
It was devastating to me.
That Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale's script was rejected more than 40 times. And that the movie you know and love was almost buried under Hollywood doubt, studio interference, and the firing of its lead star. This is the untold story of how Back to the Future nearly fell apart before it became a classic.
Telling me that you built a time machine? What of a DeLorean?
To understand how unlikely this film's success was, we have to start with its creators.
It's a flying saucer from outer space!
Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale weren't Hollywood power players in the early 1980s. They were two friends from USC Film School, trying desperately to make a name for themselves. They'd had a few chances. Their films, I Want to Hold Your Hand and Used Cars, both flopped at the box office, despite critical praise. In Hollywood, that kind of track record can be fatal. But Zemeckis had a secret weapon: Steven Spielberg. Spielberg had taken an interest in the young director, producing his early films and encouraging his work. Even still, the idea for Back to the Future was not an easy sell. In 1980, Bob Gale asked himself a simple question: if I could go back in time and meet my parents as teenagers, would I like them?
Would I have been friends with my dad if I had gone to high school with him? And boom, that's when the proverbial bolt of lightning, shall we say, struck me, and I said, that is a movie. A kid goes back in time and ends up in high school with his dad.
Hey, McFly! What do you think you're doing?
Biff.
Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug.
Oh, hey, Biff. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, you got my homework finished, McFly?
Well, actually...
That innocent question became the spark of one of cinema's most enduring stories.
After I fell off my toilet, I do this.
Flux capacitor.
But if you think Hollywood recognized genius right away, think again.
Tom, how am I going to generate that kind of power? It can't be done, can it?
Zemeckis and Gale's script was rejected over 40 times. Disney passed because of the subplot where Marty's mother unknowingly falls in love with him.
How's your head?
Oh, good. Fine.
Oh, I've been so worried about you ever since you ran off the other night. Are you okay?
Executives called it too incestuous. Other studios dismissed it as too innocent for the teen comedy boom. Studios said it wasn't funny enough, not raunchy enough, not commercial enough. This was the era of Porky's and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Back to the Future was too clean.
Exactly, the girl next door.
Awesome! Totally awesome!
Years went by. No one wanted it. Until Universal Pictures finally took a gamble, thanks, once again, to Spielberg's faith in Zemeckis. With the studio finally on board, the filmmakers faced their next impossible task: casting Marty McFly. Their first choice was Michael J. Fox, the rising star of Family Ties. But Fox's schedule was too demanding, and his showrunners refused to release him. So the filmmakers turned to another promising young actor, Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz was known as a serious, dramatic actor. He had just come off an acclaimed role in a film called Mask. For Zemeckis and Gale, Stoltz seemed like a safe bet. But almost immediately, cracks began to show. Stoltz approached the character of Marty McFly as a deeply dramatic role. He was intense, methodical, and refused to break character on set.
He had a really interesting process. He liked to create friction, I think. He liked to be called by his character name all the time. He wouldn't answer. If you said Eric, he wouldn't answer you. You had to call him by his character name, which a lot of people find hard.
But Back to the Future wasn't a drama. It was a comedy. And Stoltz's performance just wasn't funny.
In the scene in the cafeteria where he's pushing me and Strickland comes up, he was pushing me so hard with his whole method thing. The method was very strong toward me.
Right.
You know? So,
because you're the antagonist.
Of course. I mean, he was driving the heels of his hands hard into my collarbones. And I'm talking to him between takes, early takes. Hey, Marty, quote unquote. You're just really, I mean, it's a movie. You're going to break my collarbone, man. And he pretends he really doesn't hear me because I'm not in the scene with him at that point. And take two. Bam! Into my collarbones.
Christopher Lloyd later admitted there was no chemistry. It just didn't work. For 6 grueling weeks, production carried on. Millions of dollars were spent. But behind the scenes, Zemeckis and Gale knew their movie wasn't working. They were making the wrong film. And so, they made a decision that could have ended their careers. They fired their lead actor.
What happened was the director fired me.
Why?
He didn't like my work. He was very nice about, well, as nice as you can be when you're firing someone, but he said that I wasn't giving the performance that he wanted for his film, which I can respect.
6 weeks into shooting, Eric Stoltz was gone. With this change in casting, entire sequences needed to be reshot. Universal was furious and began to panic. But ultimately, Spielberg supported the two Bobs in their quest to find a replacement Marty. Finally, they got their first choice. Michael J. Fox joined the cast, but it came at a cost. By day, he filmed Family Ties. By night, he rushed to the Back to the Future set, often working until dawn.
Bob and I have an expression that we used on the first movie, which is pain is temporary, film is forever. And, that's the way you got to look at it. If you get hit in the head a couple of times to make a great film.
But the difference was immediate.
Changes and try and keep up.
Fox brought charm, energy, and a natural comic rhythm that transformed the film. Suddenly, scenes that had fallen flat now crackled with life. Christopher Lloyd later said, "When Michael came in, it just clicked." With Michael J. Fox, the movie finally had its Marty McFly. Universal had taken an enormous risk, and it paid off in a massive way. But Stoltz wasn't the only problem. The DeLorean itself constantly broke down, costing precious time. The original ending involved Marty outrunning a nuclear explosion to power the time machine, until budget and logic forced them to rewrite it into the now iconic lightning strike at the clock tower. And then there was the title. Universal executive Sid Sheinberg hated Back to the Future. He wanted it changed to Spaceman from Pluto.
I am an extraterrestrial from the planet Vulcan.
Spielberg diffused the absurdity with a single clever memo.
One day we get this memo, and it says, "I've come up with the perfect title for this movie, Spaceman from Pluto, and here are some changes in the script that you can make to reflect the title." And so Bob and I went to Stephen and we said, "What do we do?" And he turned to his assistant and he said, "Let's send Sid a memo. Dear Sid, thank you for your most humorous memo of November 14th. We all got a big laugh out of it. Keep them coming." We knew that Sid would be too embarrassed to admit that he was serious, and we never heard about it again.
Action!
Back to the Future was born from rejection, from risk, from the ashes of failure.
Doc, you're my only hope.
A film that by all accounts should have collapsed, instead became one of the most beloved movies of all time. Without Zemeckis and Gale's stubborn vision, Spielberg's support, and the risky decision to fire their lead, Marty McFly might never have existed. Doc Brown's DeLorean might never have hit 88 miles per hour.
A picture of this. This is what makes time travel possible. The Flux capacitor.
And maybe that's fitting. Because like Doc himself once said,
Your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one.
They said time travel was impossible.
We do now.
They said this movie would never work.
This is it. This is the answer.
But when the credits rolled, the future had arrived.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
If you want more stories of impossible odds, iconic films, and the chaos behind the classics, hit that subscribe button and step behind the slate. Because the past isn't over. It's just waiting to be rediscovered.